Hey, Jovan here with your free college football external clip play for Saturday, August 30th, 2025. Now, you know it's here at Pick Dawgz. We love giving out free picks, but if you want my best bets, the best that I'm putting in today, go to the website, pickdawgz.com, where you can find my or one of our other world-class handicappers picks for today. Now, like we always do, per usual, let's do a little bit of house cleaning in. That Toronto Blue Jays -2 plus 207, straight dud. Didn't even get off the bus. It was a 0-0 ball game, a classic pitcher's duel, all up until Shane Bieber gave up a solo shot to left field on a 3-2 pitch. And he gave up a couple more hits. He got pulled prematurely and hit the showers for the bullpen, which opened up the floodgates. Ended up being a 7-2 Brewers final, and you know it was worth a shot. It's plus 207, so you're getting 2-1 on your money, but you know it was a bad pick. Just on the strength of you don't go against the Brew Crew. You know, we've been backing the Brew Crew a lot over these last, almost 3 months. And, you know, they've gotten cooler. So they are spots to get them at. And I thought last night was a spot where Freddie P was going to give up a couple. Then the bullpen was going to give up more. It ended up being the Blue Jays who gave it up more. I did suggest that the Blue Jays bullpen, you know, were concerned. I didn't really take heed to it at the end of the day because I thought that the Toronto bats were going to do the job. They didn't get the job done, and as a result, we lost. So that runs our external clip record to 19-23-1. We are currently on a 3-game slide. You know I don't like that, so we're gonna put some straightenings on that immediately, and we're sitting at plus 767, so we're well entrenched into the green. We're on the plus side. This external clip series hasn't known being in the red, so we're gonna get right back to it with today's action. The two-team parlay did not hit. Win 1-1, that gets you nothing. Kennesaw State, straight casher, never in doubt. It was a 10-9 final. Yeah, Wake Forest, they're in trouble. You know, that's a fact, and I can't wait to fade them in the upcoming weeks. Sparty did not cover. They ended up winning by 17. That wasn't enough. I knew that they weren't going to give up much, but I also thought that they were going to score at least 30 points. So there you have it. They didn't score 30 points. They didn't score 31 points. They scored 23, a touchdown short. And, you know, that's what you get when you're dealing with the Spartans. You know, so should have hit, didn't hit. And that's what it is. So let's move on to the continuation of the top 25 receivers for this upcoming 2025 NFL season, and we are going to start at number 20. This is from 16 to 20, and at number 20 we have Davante Adams for the LA Rams. He's been bouncing around in recent years from team to team, and it has dropped his standing in the receivers considerably because this was once a top 5 receiver. But in my book, he's only top 20. Let's move on. Number 19, Garrett Wilson for the Jets, the New York Jets. Number 18, that'll be Chris Godwin for the Tampa Bay Bucks, coming off injury. Let's see what happens with him this season. 17, we have, and we're going to run an audible here. We're going to switch up 17 to 16. Number 17, Drake London for the Atlanta Falcons. I had him at 16, but he's really 17. And that's because I believe number 16 should be, and who's that? DJ Moore for the Chicago Bears. You're basically splitting hairs, but Moore is more dynamic on the field with what he does. Drake London is more of a possession guy. He'll move the sticks for you, but he's not explosive like that as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's why I just pulled the audible in real time. So that is my list. I'm sticking to it. Don't argue with me, or don't debate with me, debate with somebody else. And now we move along to college football Saturday, and there were many places I wanted to go, but there were a couple lines where they didn't have game lines to move to manipulate the lines on DK. So we decided to go to Southern Cal, specifically Los Angeles, California, LA, big city of dreams, where the Missouri State Bears are facing the USC Trojans. And, like every year, Lincoln Riley's bunch, or USC in general, because it doesn't matter who the coach is, they have high expectations. That's just the way it is over in Trojan land. And this team is loaded up for bear. Returned 16 starters for both sides of the ball, 19 on offense, 17 on defense. And it's headed by Jaden Maeva, strong arm of a kid. He has a house for an arm. He's pretty accurate. And look, they're expecting big things out of these guys in their second year in the Big Ten. So, like I said, they're loaded up for bear. They're ready to go on both sides of the ball, and that spells doom for the Missouri State Bears, who are making their inaugural campaign in the FBS. They were in the FCS. They were 8-4 last season. Pretty good season for them. And they're not returning much. They're only returning 9 starters from last year's team. 4 on offense, 5 on defense, or it might be flipped. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they do return their quarterback. That is a thing. But I just think that the step up in class, first game in the FBS, they're not going to score much. They'll be lucky if they get a sniff in the end zone for this one. So that, for me, that leaves it up to USC to do the heavy lifting in this one. And I believe they get it done in a big way. I think this is going to be, and for, Lincoln Riley, when he has a sister of the poor that he's facing, he usually smacks them up and doesn't let them up for air. So, you're going to run up the score. This is run up the score time, week 1, facing a lesser opponent. This is basically target practice for them. And I believe that they win by well over the margin, so much so that we're going to run this to 44.5 at plus 184. The original line is 36.5 at the time of this recording, and that's a full 8 points that we have to clear for this Extendo clip. So you know how we do with the Extendo clip when it comes to football and basketball. We ladder these bets, so you could take the spread, you could run it up however you choose, pick whatever numbers that you want to ladder it up to at whatever amount of money that you want to run it up to. But the cap is 44.5. So let's reiterate this one real quick. That'll be the USC Trojans minus 44.5 at plus 184. Book your cash to do what you got to do with it, but go to the website pickdawgz.com where you can find my or one of our other world-class handicappers picks. Now smash that like button. Let's get this money and hit the book where it hurts.